Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video I'll go over which premium near top tier tank you should purchase from either the XM-1 or the Leopard A1A1 L44. Both tanks are in great tech trees, both sit at high BRs, and both are a ton of fun and come with great bonuses that can really help that top tier grind. That said, I'll help you make the decision with this video. We'll go over their stats, the differences between the tanks, what each tank excels at, their gameplay styles, and finally which tank I feel most people should purchase over the other. This video will include brief reviews and overviews for each tank, so if you want a more in-depth review of each individual tank, I have those listed below. That said, let's get into it. So before we get into the real fun gameplay portion of it, I will go over the stats real quick, starting off with the XM-1. We have 33.8 degree turret rotation speed with a 28 degree base without crew modifiers, a negative 10 to 15 vertical guidance, which is pretty darn good, a 7.8 second reload, but the base is 8.7 when you do not have any crew skills into that. Whole armor is 114, 31, 31, front sides rear, 114, 38, 25 for the turret armor, front sides rear. This is a bit better because it does have excellent heat protection, so if someone's shooting you with heat, being that heat is now the base round for most main battle tanks, that will be quite effective. It's got a crew of 4, 52.6 ton weight, and it accelerates to 83 kilometers per hour excellently. And finally, we do have that 105 millimeter gun, which is excellent. That 260 degree armor pen is a little bit deceiving because that comes with the base APDS ammo, but you're going to be using the APF SDS ammo, which shoots about 100 millimeters more of armor pen. So really you can consider that to be around 350 millimeters of armor pen in the best case scenario. So now for the Leopard A1A1 L44, for the stats we have a 20.2 degree per second turret rotation speed. It's actually closer to 16.7 when it's unmodified by crew skill, a negative 9 to 20 degree vertical guidance, and that's something that typically you won't really use all too often, but it is better than the XM-1. 7.7 second reload, but it is around 8.7 when unmodified with crew. For whole armor, front, side, and rear, we have 70, 35, 25. Turret armor 65, 45, 52. A bit weird how it is laid out, but it is a little bit better on the rear than it is the side. And for armor pen, we have 480 millimeters, courtesy of the L44 cannon from Rheinmetall that goes up through 10.7 BR. That is an excellent cannon, and it does have access to both APF SDS ammo and Heat FS ammo, with the APF SDS ammo being a little bit better, although it does have lesser armor pen. We also have a crew of 4. It weighs 43 tons, goes 65 kilometers per hour, and does not accelerate all too quickly, but I'll go over that throughout the video. In this next section, I'll be comparing and contrasting the two tanks with what they have and what they don't have, so the similarities and the differences. And to start, I'll go over the similarities. We have stabilizers on both the XM-1 and A1A1 L44, access to APF SDS ammo, and they both have crews of 4. Now, it might seem a little bit weird, but these tanks do not have all too much in common. And now for the differences, I'll start with what the XM-1 has that the Leopard doesn't, and what the XM-1 also does a little bit better. The XM-1 has composite armor that allows it to be even a tiny bit survivable against similar BR opponents. It's got a higher top speed at 18 kilometers per hour higher. It's got a substantially better acceleration, higher turret traverse. It's around 40% better at any given time. It's got better optics that allows it to zoom in substantially better than the Leopard A1A1 L44. It's got a 105mm cannon, which is in part inferior to the L44 cannon. It's got a higher BR at 9.3 compared to 9.0, and it also has access to HESH ammo, APDS ammo, and smoke shells, which are things that the Leopard A1A1 L44 do not have. And now for what the Leopard has that the XM-1 doesn't have, or what the Leopard does better than the XM-1. As a 120mm L44 cannon, of which is absolutely devastating all the way up through 10.7 BR, this is not quite the same cannon as those higher 10.7 or 10.3 BR cannons, as this does not have the same ammo suite as those cannons, but it is essentially the same exact thing, just with less ammo options. It has a lower BR than the XM-1 at 9.0 compared to 9.3. It does have access to smoke grenades, which is something that the XM-1 does not have, and it only has Heat FS and APF SDS ammo as compared to the XM-1, which has 2.5 times the ammo options of the A1A1L44. And for the overview, review / gameplay preview of the XM-1, it's for those with a more balanced strike type of gameplay. While its cannon is not as powerful as the L44 on the Leopard, it still has a very potent 105mm cannon, which along with the L44 does come standard with APF SDS ammo. Additionally, the XM-1 is both faster at 18 km per hour, faster and quicker than the Leopard. It accelerates substantially quicker and again has a 40% better turret traverse rate. Additionally, as mentioned before, it does have that composite armor which will lead you to being protected against heat FS ammo, which is incredibly important now being that that is the stock shell at top tier matches. And for the gameplay of the XM-1, it more or less functions identically to every other MBT or main battle tank in game. It's just a little bit less powerful. Now, does this mean it's less capable? Not at all, as the APF SDS ammo can go through most tanks in game, including those that are or are at near top BR with ease. You'll want to play this more as a flanker, as its armor will not allow you to survive quite like a full-fledged Abrams, especially not like the upgraded A1 or A2 models. Its cannon is also better suited to this role, especially at matches where it is the lowest BR tank, as it doesn't have the size or pen to shoot through the thick frontal armor of higher BR MBTs with 100% certainty, whereas a side armor shot with APF SDS ammo will destroy nearly every tank in game with ease, barring a ricochet. The downside to the XM-1, however, is that it sits at 9.3 BR, whereas the Leopard L44 sits at 9.0. This is not much of an issue, however, as the XM-1 is likely better suited to the BR of 9.3 than the Leopard L44 suited to its own BR, and that's mainly due to survivability concerns. On the other hand, the Leopard A1A1 L44 is for those who love the idea of the glass cannon. This tank is far less balanced than the XM-1, meaning that it is all about power and has much less in the way of armor, speed, and agility, again when compared to the XM-1. This, however, is somewhat compensated against with its 0.3 lower BR than the XM-1 and the fact that it has the 120mm L44 cannon, which, after all, is the tank's namesake. This cannon can be found all the way through the top BRs, which means that it is incredibly effective, especially at 9.0 BR. The Leopard A1A1 L44 does, however, feature little in the way of protection, owing to largely the same armor and armor layout of the other Leopards in game, which means that at every BR they exist, they are easy one-shot kills. This does not, however, mean that it is at all a bad tank, as many people are absolutely in love with the Leopard L44, and for good reason. This tank basically functions like a go-kart with a tank cannon. It is an absolute blast to play, and while not nearly as well balanced as the XM-1, makes it so that those of whom do not get hit are greatly rewarded, more so than the XM-1. For gameplay and style of play, it is not quite fast enough to be a great flanker, and its cannon can pen through the front armor of nearly all MBTs it'll face with ease. But that does not mean you can't flank. For me personally, I found the L44 to be especially effective when either firing from cover or on the back lines of a push towards a base, or even while flanking, as it does still possess some level of speed. You will likely end up on the tail end of a flank and or a base capture, however. In practice, I'd say this tank is a bit more friendly to those who have more experience in game as compared to the XM-1, which is slightly more friendly to those with less experience, although both are for more advanced users regardless. Neither tank is very forgiving when considering the absolute beast that they face on the battlefield, regardless of the BR difference between them. This said, when considering the differences on both tanks, which one should you purchase? In short, even despite the BR increases that it has faced and stiffer competition at the top since its initial release, I'd say the XM-1 is still going to be better for most players. It is because it is the more forgiving tank and will allow you to make errors every now and again, whereas the Leopard L44 simply will not. It may not have as deadly of a cannon as the Leopard, but it does have substantially better armor, although not insanely good even at 9.3 BR, and it has a much better engine that provides hugely better speed and acceleration, again compared to its Leopard counterpart. Better agility, better turret traverse, and so on. It's just better overall. But this will also come down to which tank tree you feel like you need the tank more for in order to fill out that tank tree. The Leopard L44 is by no means a slouch, and when minimizing its weaknesses by playing safely and at the back, you can potentially destroy far more tanks than the XM-1, whereas the XM-1 is slightly more apt to give you more assists. If you have the experience, I'd say the Leopard L44 can be more rewarding, but its class cannon nature makes it an all or nothing type of tank, whereas you can use the XM-1 more consistently with success. Either way, both tanks are absolutely wonderful, but the XM-1 can roll with the punches better and is more versatile, meaning I would recommend it for about 80 to 90% of players, whereas the Leopard L44 is more for those who are near at the top of their matches anyways and might want a new challenge. This said, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you guys learned a lot from this video. I do have my other reviews of the XM1 and the Leopard A1A1 L44, again linked below. They are a bit older, so please forgive me if they aren't as high of a quality of video as this is. Not that this is necessarily a very high quality video, but again, I really hope I can give you some of my experience with both of these tanks to help you decide which one to spend your hard-earned money on. Either way, if you could, please subscribe. It means the world to me. But that being said, heading out for the night. Again, this is Tankenstein. Thanks so much for watching, dudes. Be excellent to each other, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.